Gruff, Rees, thank you for joining us. Now, maybe some people wouldn't know, but if you could explain to us your role with the Cardiff RFC.
First of all, I'm the Academy Manager for Cardiff Rugby, looking after the Senior Academy and all the pathway and responsibilities that go with that role as well. So that's obviously a large chunk of my work. But since lockdown, I've taken on the role of Director of Coaching for Cardiff RFC, just to pull the programme together at the highest part of our pathway, and obviously now with Cardiff RFC in the Super Rugby Cymru, effectively aligning that programme to what we do in the academy, and looking at the playing opportunities for academy players, but doing it alongside a model of quality semi-professionals and players and coaches that keep Cardiff RFC at the forefront of the semi-professional tier really, and help us develop players accordingly.
Now, that's quite a big job because the Cardiff pathway and the academy setup is the biggest really in all the systems. Now that's quite a bit to keep an eye on.
It is, yeah, but I think internally we've had some successes and since we've aligned the programme, and obviously clear opportunities for players like Cam Winnett, Alex Mann and so forth that came out of that lockdown generation. We did a lot of work with in terms of their contractual status and playing opportunity with Cardiff RFC, and it served a really good purpose. Then we've probably evolved now into another wave of young players who've come through the pathway and giving them the support, and even though last year we scratched around a little bit, I think some of the lack of numbers the seniors had, that sort of pervaded through the academy with some of our financial challenges. But we got through last season, and this season we've managed to bump on with newer academy groups getting opportunities. And what's good for us in terms of internally here, 7 academy players at least in every matchday squad. 16 of those are eligible for Wales 20s. So the mandate in terms of this stage of the pathway, 18 to 21, is looking at more than better players. And we feel we do that in the Cardiff region, and proud of that fact as well, especially building on what we feel is effective work in our pathway between 16 and 18. It's pushing that on in that 18 to 21 sphere is crucial for player development, and given the calendar we've got, some of the challenges we often have, but working closely with the union, we feel we've got a good model, and Cardiff RFC is a good vehicle for what we want to do in terms of player development, but also in terms of the club itself playing the right brand of rugby, coached in the right way, both on and off the field, with the right set of standards of behaviours. And that's where I'd be working closely with the coaches, the S&C, the medical, to make sure that we're covering everything in the right way.
A lot of coaches are involved, and you were saying now you're coached in the right way. Would you say the pattern is similar of coaching throughout?
Yeah, that's probably one of the sort of, people talk about the word alignment. That's sort of one thing that you get from good alignment is similar use of language. There'll be some aspects of Matt Sherratt's work that Dan Fish will obviously be working closely to in terms of our attack. Not 100%. Dan will have his own stamp on a few things, and I'd encourage him to be creative and come up with different solutions. Especially because you can't copy all and everything that seniors are doing with the semi-professional group and academy players who are developing. But there's certainly an imprint of that around the RFC. Likewise with Craig Everett in the defence, and Rory coming in to do the line out has got a version of the seniors that he'll be comfortable with. And again, supports the players' technical development as well in terms of the units and team aspects, both with the ball and without. And then that would cascade down the pathway in terms of my role, dovetailing with Aled James, our talent and pathway manager, that at under 18s, our 17s and 16s, get a diluted form of what the senior game would look like at an appropriate level for each player's development at those ages. And yeah, it would, as I said, it would be Cardiff rugby-fied, alongside some key principles of play which won't go away.
So basically, as they shift up, they know the pattern as they move up ready from your under 18s to the under 20s to the RFC then, and ready if they get picked up for Cardiff Rugby.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I don't like it to just be one thing though. As I said, Josh Turnbull with the 18s has done a few things slightly different, and I'd encourage that. I think players need to have an adaptability. They need to understand the game in a more broader context and make their own decisions as well. That's what I'd be looking to encourage around the coach's development as well. Often We have coaches very wise and been around the game, and technical, tactical knowledge is second to none. But it's also allowing the players to breathe and allow them to make their own decisions. And I will say that's one of the things that, you know, Dan Fish has really brought as head coach this year. He's obviously got some key attacking principles, which we've discussed, you know, which link to what we think high performance rugby should be and what those players aspire to. But, you know, it's within a sort of philosophy of see space, attack space, and I think that's what the RFC boys have done well when you look at the tries we score and the type of rugby we try to play.
Yeah, it's been quite an open game in the RFC across the board, a lot of running rugby, and especially we were talking to a few of the coaches that they do like the system, the 6 points you can pick up to, you know, it encourages them to play. But if you go back to the system you're talking about, it's obviously a success, because there's a lot of boys in the under-18 squad, a lot in the under-20 squad, a lot from the under-20s playing for the RFC. We lost them to the Six Nations, the under-20 Six Nations. A lot of the under-18s boys had a chance to play then higher up.
Yeah, it works well for us again, having those conversations in the building, like the staff were together day in, day out, and we'd be looking from last summer really, and prior to that, in terms of player planning and what it could look like and which 18s could step up when, and the calendar now as it's been planned. There was gaps around obviously some of our numbers, and sometimes, yeah, our numbers do get challenged in the building, but part of it is with the foresight of knowing that player XYZ, they're gonna get opportunities to come in around the cup games in terms of that February and March period, and that was important for us to do alongside the regional 18s block was running concurrently but just finishing, so it was almost, if you're an under 18 player of real talent in the region, your season is going to be linear from schools, colleges to Cardiff 18s, to some exposure with Cardiff RFC, and a number of them have played for Wales 18s now.
It's having that chance really, isn't it? And, you know, it's been a successful year for the RFC as well, because, you know, they're ending the regular season, being on top of the league, and moving on to the playoffs. Now, from now on, there's potentially 3 games. Every game's a final from now on.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, people would know, sorry, in terms of my role, I'm not hell-bent on it being judged as a success based on the winning and losing. I think the development aspect is important. But look, don't get me wrong, when you're in it, and I am here match days, working weeks, and looking at the time and effort that the players, the coaches are putting in to support each individual, but obviously to get a thriving team in place. And when you're at the top end of things, you do want to push for more. And it's probably the least they deserve in terms of certainly the semi-pro guys, who are the crux of what we do here. You know, the model wouldn't work without the likes of Alan Rees, Nathan Hudd, Sean Moore, Craig Hudd, Dewi Cross, Tom Haberfield. They're the guys who are the glue on everything really in terms of how it works. Yeah, and for those type of players playing at the top of the semi-pro game, proudly for Cardiff's RFC, you do want them to achieve success. And I think it was nice again to be top of the league placing in that respect. And for those guys, and for the academy guys who are in that phase of learning how to win, and I think understanding how to win rugby games is important at this point of development. I think it's a really interesting and exciting time, and we can't wait for that.
So it's safe to say that there's plenty of potential moving forward for these youngsters. Yeah,
there is. I mean, there's a clutch of guys who've impressed this year alongside their roles in the under-20s, and I think that needs to be acknowledged that, you know, clubs like ourselves are working closely with Richard Whiffin in terms of, you know, players' action points, in terms of what their work-ons are, discussing things on and off the field in terms of each player's development. But it's an exciting, vibrant place. There's a lot of plans for next year as well in terms of what we want to do to build on the group this year. And from my point of view, it's seeing the next wave come through and emulating what's been done by some of the players before them also.
Well, Jack, thank you for your time. It definitely gives us a lot to look forward to, Jack.
Jack,